Next up, we have Bobby Slattery, who is the founder of 50 West Brewing Company. Bobby?
I'll just go off this. Okay. I'm Bobby Slattery. I'm the founder of 50 West Brewing Company, and I'm here today to tell you our story. We opened our doors in November of 2012 inside this former speakeasy built in the 1800s off Route 50. Our goal was to educate Cincinnati about craft beer through our little brew pub. We spec'd a 10-barrel system, felt like about 1,000 barrels a year would be enough to satisfy the demand for what we were doing with a little bit of distribution throughout the city. We quickly realized we had undershot what we set out to do. Our brand 50 West was about a journey. So the road outside our door, Route 50, if you took a left, went all the way to Ocean City, Maryland. If you took a right, went all the way to California. We loved this idea that we could tie all these beers that we were brewing back to these stories of this road. And we began documenting that, driving that road, and telling these stories as we drove through Washington, D.C., Cincinnati, St. Louis, Lake Tahoe, and Sacramento. We had a killer brand. So we've got the brand, our tap room's hopping, we're making award-winning beers. We just missed one piece. We only expect to do 1,000 barrels a year. And when the time came for us to scale up, we weren't set up to do this. The public wanted our brands in higher volume, and we didn't know what we were going to do financially to do this, to be able to fulfill it in the way we wanted to fulfill it, without taking on massive debt or selling off equity. We took a step back, and we looked at our landscape in Cincinnati at the time. So in 2012, when we opened, we were the 6th brewery in Cincinnati. There were now 46 other breweries, all trying to put their beer in package, roll it out the door, and sell it to whoever they could possibly sell it to. We asked ourselves, how could we be different? So we looked at our options for expansion, and we started in this little brew pub up here in the top. And across the street was this beach volleyball place that was perfect for a production brewery. We looked at it and we noticed that it was connected to the bike trail, it had a river right behind it, and it just had all these awesome attributes. And so we started asking ourselves this question, rather than focus on that production issue, maybe we should focus on the experience for our customers that were coming through the door. What we ended up doing was we opened up a canoe and kayak livery, a bike shop, we ran volleyball leagues out of there, we ran running groups. It all became about the experience. Our goal was to add value to people's lives through the beer. So if you were super into craft beer, but you'd never been down the river in a canoe, we tried to get you into a canoe. If you were super into cycling but knew nothing about craft beer, we tried to draw you back to the brewery and teach you and educate you about craft beer. We wanted the consumer to experience our brand rather than us tell them about our brand. We were trying to separate ourselves through this creativity. When beer festivals became commonplace in Cincinnati, we asked ourselves, how do we do it different? We have an annual event every year called Punch Out, where we went to all the local breweries in town and we said, give us a beer, but don't just give us a beer, give us a guy too. So they gave us a guy, we sent him to a boxing gym for 2 months. They trained at that boxing gym, and we threw the first ever beer festival where the brewers fought each other in conjunction. It was a huge hit. By the second year, we were drawing 2,000 to 3,000 people to this event. We got Kroger to come in as a corporate sponsor, and we were on our way. At the same time we were doing this, we were self-distributing our product, draft only, which is all we had the capacity to do, and we ended up building ourselves to become the 3rd largest on-premise brewery in Cincinnati. We leveraged this, and ultimately, distributors were coming to us every day asking for our business. We were able to kind of pit them together and then eventually sell those rights off to a distributor. After 5 years, with the capital we took from that distributor, we reinvested it back to put our beer into package the right way. And on January 29th, 50 West will be launching package into Cincinnati for the first time ever with 3 different brands that we established over 5 years selling on premise. Our Coast to Coast IPA, our Doom Pedal White Ale, and our 50 West American Lager. Our strong on-premise presence was favorable with all the major retailers in our market, and we've guaranteed placement within those spaces come early next year. That's it. Thanks.
All right, grab a mic.
Thank you.
There's might have some questions for you.
All right, Martin, you probably live in the most saturated market for beer in the country, for craft beer, that is. Differentiation, clearly very important. What do you think about the differentiation plan for Bobby and Route 50?
I think it's good. I really like the aspect of you involving people with different activities, not just beer. You're bringing them over with the kayaking, with the biking, with all these aspects. I was, well, not confused, but I did want to ask. I know the 50 West name does come across the highway that crosses the whole country. Is your brand more activity-based, or is it more the whole, you're trying to cover the whole country aspect of it? Like, where does the brand stand more than anything? Is it the activity-based, or is it the whole, we're trying to encompass the whole U.S.?
So for us, we look at localization's been really big, right? So there's this great story that we could tell going across the country of this road. We've tried to do it several times, and what we found is, you get to Ocean City, Maryland, and there's this amazing story to be told there, but we're only there for an hour, right? So what we look at is you can't win this game of craft beer right now without being present in your local market. It's a big game of risk, right? You got to build your army up there. So for us, we use those experiences in our own market to build that and appeal to our local market. And then once we have that established, our long-term goal would be to tell that story, the greater story of this road trip, and let people try to connect with it. A lot of those activities we're doing are relevant to outdoor activities that would fall in line with camping and things that you would do along that road trip. So we think we can tie those together as our brand continues to develop over time.
Okay. Yeah. Carmen, did you buy into that brand story for 50 West?
Yeah, I think it needs a little bit of tightening. The way that you just articulated it, I think, makes more sense to me. What I like about 50 West as sort of a brand position is that it sort of gives you the space to allow the brand to travel, which is, like you said, it's really hard to be relevant if you're not local. So I think that is really smart. And I also think it's really smart the way that you guys have approached the experience at the pub. We heard some folks talk today about the pub being the third place. And I think that's probably the best place for people to experience your brand in the way that you want them to experience it. So I would say that right now you're in a really challenging time as you launch package. And I would challenge you to think about how you retain the experience that you're providing to guests at the pub and not move too quickly into package where that experience gets diluted.
Yeah, totally. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. What's your take on the positioning for 50 West?
From a distributor's perspective, whenever you say the word Kroger, my ears are standing up. So if you have partners like that that are asking you, to come along for the ride and find distribution, that's good. I love your common theme through all your packaging and even your presentation. This idea of experience in America, going coast to coast, and it'll be exciting to see how you'll make. You have an opportunity to make your beer local along this highway. And not many beers can do that. So one of the boxes here on our sheet is opportunities in the marketplace. So festivals and charitable events are something that we like to partner a lot with. And I think that you can become really relevant in all those markets. So it'll be exciting to see you expand. Your portfolio, I would like to see deeper than, just kind of the basic 3 flavors. So that would be something I would ask, what else do you make? What else is in your portfolio?
Okay, thank you.
Matt, could 50 West fit into Total Wine?
Yeah, I definitely think so. One of the things I like about the brand is that you do have this path from coast to coast, right? So we have stores from coast to coast. So that, I think, allows you to, yes, you're local Cincinnati, but allows you to stay relevant. Another thing that's on our sheet here, collaboration opportunities. Like, how cool is that where you could actually go that path and then find breweries that you could collaborate? And so maybe you have a core 3, but maybe the rest of your portfolio is like a rotating series with the different breweries on that path. So I love that piece of it. My one question to you would be, so once you get off, so the activity piece of it, I like that as well, but how do you maximize that, or how do you tell that story once you get off premise? Like once you get into a Total Wine or a Kroger, how are you going to have that come through in those stores?
So you're talking about through the road trip story or our story back?
It's how you can execute the fact that it's right now it's it's a great experience at the brewery and the activities. How are you going to then translate that to when it's in a grocery store or in a liquor channel store? So
we try to do it a little bit with the packaging to tell the story. Ultimately, I think that breweries today need to rely heavily on social media. We've seen a lot of experience with that and success. And there's a whole lifestyle out there called van life where people are just moving into vans and traveling the country. So if you look at our Instagram, we've really tried to dial that in over the next year. We think that those pictures, those photos, if we invest in it right now, maybe that story starts to tell itself through other people that become affiliated with our brands, and that'll help sell itself into the store.
All right. Perhaps the most important box on that sheet is how does the beer taste? Tom, you got 30 seconds.
This beer is really approachable. I like it a lot. It's really balanced, really drinkable, lots of citrusy and pithy component for an IPA. I love the hyper-local. My question is as you expand, what would this beer taste like if it literally had to travel? And what would shelf life look for you as you expanded that kind of that idea outwards on a national level? Because that would be something I'd want to think about too in terms of what I just tasted. Could you replicate that at a larger scale?
Unfortunately, we're out of time,
sorry.
but you guys can talk a little bit later on. Thanks so much, Bobby. Great job.
Thank you.